Good afternoon, and welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program.
This program is sponsored by the Southwest TV Translator Association and supported by the Dolores County Broadcasting Network as seen on DCTV Channel 32.1.
The News at Noon program is in the pilot stage, and we hope to bring a variety of news and commentary for the Four Corners region. Give us your feedback and news alerts at 677-4119.
With all that said, I'm Kendra Cook, and my co-hosts are Kelsey Kiesling and Jerry Tope. Now for January 11th, 2016, here's the news. Reported in the Journal last week, a masked gunman entered a Montezuma County home and stole cash, marijuana, and electronics. The unknown suspects remain on the loose. The Montezuma County Sheriff's Office reported that the home invasion robbery occurred at a residence on the 11,000 block of County Road 39.4 during the early morning hours on Tuesday, January 5th. Authorities have requested assistance from the community in capturing the armed bandits. They are described as speaking both English and Spanish, wearing gloves and ski masks, and one was described as 6 feet tall while the other was 5 feet 10 inches tall. As listed on the sheriff's Facebook page, one of the suspects had dark eyes and the other lighter eyes. The suspects left the scene in a silver-colored, newer Dodge 1500 four-door pickup. According to authorities, the residence was occupied when the armed suspects entered the home and held the victims at gunpoint, allegedly stealing $10,000 in cash, a GoPro camera, a laptop computer, and 2 pounds of processed marijuana. One of the victims was listed as a licensed medical marijuana provider. During the altercation, 2 rounds were fired from a pistol by one of the suspects. 1 round was reportedly fired inside the residence, while the other was fired into a vehicle. No injuries were reported. Anyone with information about the alleged offense are asked to call the Montezuma County Sheriff's Office at 970-565-8452.
According to the Journal, Cortez is listed as one of the safest communities in Colorado when analyzing the chances of falling victim to a household burglary. A consumer news and advocacy organization recently unveiled an interactive map revealing the safest and worst cities in America using 2014 FBI statistics. Based on the odds, Cortez ranked 5th out of 122 cities in the Centennial State. Examining other regional towns, Pagosa Springs, ranked at 115, was the most dangerous community in southwest Colorado based on property crime probabilities. By comparison, Denver was rated at 103. In the middle, Telluride came in at 65, and Durango was listed at 57. In the upper tier, Mancos was rated at 27. Despite the rankings, nearly 2 burglaries were reported daily in Cortez in 2014, according to the Consumer Affairs website. By comparison, Durango reported more than 3 burglaries per day. Telluride, Mancos, and Pagosa Springs each reported less than 1 burglary per day. Chic, however, disputed the website's data, stating the Cortez Police Department reported a total of 35 burglaries in 2014. Last year, the city reported 53, she said. In 2014, nearly 8.3 million property crimes were reported across the country, costing Americans more than $14 billion.
Also in Cortez, city officials Tuesday night will be reviewing a draft ordinance proposed to allow downtown businesses to offer outdoor dining and alcohol drinking. A proposed 3-page legislation is being created to suggest a change to the ordinances for downtown business owners so that they may apply for a license for permission to serve both food and alcohol on city sidewalks. A public hearing would be mandated prior to a final approval. The discretionary outdoor dining licenses would apply only to those businesses that could maintain a minimum of 4 feet of sidewalk space for pedestrian traffic, with barriers or fences, so to speak, of no more than 42 inches high. It is suggested that fine dining and entertainment were not only central to the downtown Cortez experience, but the highly visible outdoor experience could augment the atmosphere. Supporters demonstrate that this is consistent with the city's master plan, promoting a walking environment for tourists and locals alike.
According to the Journal, the spring semester at Southwest Colorado Community College starts January 18th, and the last day to register is January 15th. But enrollment advisors urge students not to wait until the last minute. Besides having increased choices of open class sections, dates, and times, registering now instead of later has other benefits for both continuing and new students. Early registration also helps students avoid the stress level of being part of the hectic late enrollment rush. Making an appointment with an advisor at either campus is encouraged, but walk-ins are also welcome. Additional information about enrolling, advising, and registering procedures is available by calling the West Campus located between Mancos and Cortez at 970-564-6200 or the East Campus in Durango at 970-247-2929 or at www.enrollsouthwest.org. Come in and get registered today. The Go Zones on both the East and West campuses are open on January 4th with extended hours Mondays through Thursday 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Fridays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The Go Zones are located at 701 Camino del Rio, Durango, and 33057 US 160 between Mancos and Cortez.
As reported in the San Juan Record, Utah's San Juan County Commission has approved a 2016 budget in which expenditures exceed revenues by $741,300. In addition to making attempts to keep the 2016 expenditures in check, the county will rely on fund balances to make up the difference. They met December 29th with a budget-focused agenda. It was reported that a number of factors impact the out-of-balance budget, including a significant decrease in property tax revenues, the one-year drop exceeding $600,000. In addition, a number of factors have increased costs for the county, including a 30% increase in the cost of health insurance for county employees. Commissioners approved a 5% cost of living adjustment, or COLA, for 2015. While the overall situation is of concern, there are some bright spots. Economic Development Director Charlie DeLorme reports that transient room tax revenues are up by $60,000 and are expected to increase an additional $100,000 in the coming year. In an attempt to decrease expenditures, commissioners cut $15,000 for the county lobbyist in Washington, D.C. After discussion, commissioners decided to leave the $35,000 expenditure for either the county seat television program or for some other public relations program. While there is no way of knowing for sure what future property values will be, market factors such as low oil and gas prices, depressed uranium and copper markets, and a weakened economy point to lower property values in 2016.
As reported in the Journal, as part of the Dolores Public Library's Winter Tales series, on January 14th at 6:30 p.m., mountaineer Carolyn Gunn will give a slideshow presentation on her 1984 expedition to Mount Everest. The presentation highlights the extreme climbing world and cultural aspects traveling through China and Tibet and to the East Rongbuk Glacier. Gunn, who was base camp manager and first aid specialist, will give an overview of the expedition's successful climb of the North Wall to reach the highest point on Earth. She climbed as high as the North Col at 23,071 feet. The climb occurred only a few years after China reopened Mount Everest to Western expeditions. That year, there were only 4 total expeditions to the famously dangerous mountain, 2 from the Chinese side and 2 approaching from the Nepalese side. By comparison, in 2015, 259 climbers assembled at base camp to climb the mountain. 19 perished in an earthquake. The year before, 16 climbers died in an avalanche.
As you can see, highs this week are only expected to reach above freezing Wednesday and just at the freezing point Thursday, and be in the upper 20s for the rest of the week. Lows are at their worst through tomorrow night, too close to zero to count one way or the other, with mid-single digits Wednesday through Friday and into the lower teens possible on Saturday night. Winds between 5 and 10 miles per hour are to continue for a good 7 days. Rain and high elevation snow will be possible across the Pacific Northwest today as the Pacific frontal system moves inland. Precipitation will diminish across the region tonight as the system weakens. Another low pressure system will approach the region by Tuesday night with rain and snow spreading into the west coast states throughout Wednesday. The smaller collections of moisture you see in the central California in this image are expected to reach us here Thursday late or Friday. Timing is variable as it is currently a weak system and likely to stay weak, so snowfall is probably about an inch overall when it gets here. The larger stuff still well out in the Pacific has begun an expected split and is most, if not all of its moisture is expected to be south of us in Arizona and New Mexico. However, current models place us too close to the northern edge to tell for sure what our lot will be. I expect that if we don't get any moisture, we will feel the wind that will be produced by the separating wedge. If you note the moisture in Minnesota in the upper right side of this image as we go to our national weather map, you will see this front coming down from the north will continue to produce increasing lake effect snows, and are forecast to continue today as cold air spreads into the Great Lakes and the Northeast. The heaviest lake effect snow bands will be downwind of Lakes Erie and Ontario, where lake effect snow warnings are in effect. A fast-moving Clipper low pressure system will dive southeastward across the northern plains into the upper Midwest today. This system will spread additional snow across the upper Midwest and upper Great Lakes today and into the Ohio Valley and lower Great Lakes tonight. The system will reach the eastern U.S. tomorrow, spreading snow into the areas of the central Appalachians to the northeast. Additional enhancement of lake effect snows will also occur as this system passes. Through Wednesday morning, 1 to 2 feet of additional snow is forecast to occur downwind of Lake Erie, with 1 to 3 downwind of Lake Ontario. Wind gusts in excess of 40 miles per hour will be possible in the lake effect snow bands, reducing visibility as low as a quarter of a mile at times. The low pressure system will also produce 4 to 8 inches of snow across much of Maine Tuesday and Tuesday night. High temperatures today will be 5 to 15 degrees below average for portions of the upper Midwest and Great Lakes. The low pressure system passing the region on Tuesday will usher another round of Arctic air into the region with temperatures as much as 25 degrees below average. This frigid air mass will spread into the Ohio Valley and portions of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast by Wednesday. The U.S. experienced its second warmest year on record in 2015, which was also one of the costliest years for climate and weather-related disasters. Federal scientists announced this Thursday. The average national temperature in 2015 was 54.4 degrees Fahrenheit, 2.4 degrees above the 20th century average, making it the second warmest year since record-keeping began in 1895. Jake Crouch, climate scientist with NOAA's National Centers for Environmental Information, said that the temperature average across the contiguous U.S. were more than 6 degrees above the previous century's average. No state was actually cooler than average during 2015, Crouch said. Every state had an above-average temperature during the year. Last year was the 19th consecutive year where the annual average U.S. temperature exceeded its 20th century average. Only 2012 was warmer, with an average temperature of 55.3 degrees, although 2.4 degrees doesn't sound much. NOAA cautioned that it is an indicator of global climate imbalance. Although on a day-to-day basis it may not be that big of a deal, because part of the events that build the 2.4 degree difference are the kinds of things that we saw in the eastern United States this December, said Deke Arndt, chief of the climate monitoring branch at NOAA's National Centers for Environmental Information. NOAA's data also noted the extreme nature of weather-related natural disasters in 2015. In 2015, there were 10 weather and climate disaster events in the U.S., each with losses exceeding $1 billion. Adam Smith, applied climatologist, said overall these results resulted in the deaths of 155 people and had significant economic effects. A spree of tornadoes in Texas, record-setting rainfall and flooding in South Carolina, and a western wildfire season which burned more than 10 million acres, the largest area burned since record-keeping began in 1960. Arndt also noted the particularly strong El Niño weather phenomenon likely contributed to the distinct weather events. El Niño's presence also contributed to one of the rainiest years in history. The contiguous U.S. also experienced its third wettest year on record, primarily related to the strong presence of El Niño. Not all states benefited from the rain, however, with California suffering an exceptional drought throughout all the year, making 2015 California's 13th driest in 121 years of record keeping.
According to the journal, ASSE International Student Exchange Programs is looking for local families to host boys and girls between the ages of 15 and 18 from countries including Norway, Denmark, Spain, Italy, and Japan. ASSE students experience American cultures while practicing their English and share their own culture and language with host families. Host families welcome these students as a family member. The exchange students have pocket money for personal expenses and full health, accident, and liability insurance. ASSE students are selected based on academics and personality, and host families can choose their student from a wide variety of backgrounds, countries, and personal interests. To become an ASSE host family, call the ASSE Western Regional Office at 1-800-733-2773 or go to www.host.asse.com to begin your application.
Though it's cold and snowy out there, it's still time to think ahead and plan for warmer times. The third annual River Permit Party and fundraiser for the Dolores River Boating Advocates will be held on January 15th, starting at 6 p.m. at the Dolores Community Center. You'll enjoy live music by Last Nickel, and they're holding a silent auction including a trip for two on the Yampa River from oars, local raft trips courtesy Mountain Waters Rafting and Mile to Wild, and Dolores River Campground cabin stays, as well as river gear. Beer will be served from the Dolores River Brewery and food catered by the Absolute Bakery. It's $10 for general admission, $5 for students, and 12 and under are free. This year's event features a movie premiere of River of Sorrows, the Dolores River Project, a documentary on the Dolores River by Rig to Flip.
The DRBA was awarded a $12,000 grant from Patagonia to create the River of Sorrows documentary. In 2015, film crews traveled the Dolores from its headwaters at Lizard Head Pass to its confluence with the Colorado River 200 miles later. Filmmaker Cody Perry found the whole story around the Dolores River fascinating. Many locals are concerned that there hasn't been a whitewater release from McPhee since 2011. For the film, they boated the section above Dolores and the canyons below the confluence with the San Miguel River and explored the shallows of the river below the dam. Life before and after the dam interests the filmmakers, as does the economic benefits of irrigation, farming, and river recreation. If you are interested in helping the DRBA finish the funding, or for more details, go to DoloresRiverBoating.org.
The Anasazi Heritage Center near Dolores, Colorado, will temporarily be closed from January 18th through February 16th to prepare for a new exhibit and additional building upgrades. In addition to building improvements, the BLM curation staff is also creating a new exhibition for the special exhibit gallery featuring prehistoric, historic, and modern basketry from the AHC collections and from the Twin Rocks Trading Post. The center is Southwest Colorado's premier archaeological museum of the ancestral Puebloans or Anasazi and other native cultures of the Four Corners region. There you can explore exhibits on archaeology, local history, and Native American cultures, view 2 12th century archaeological sites. They host special exhibits and events, offer educational resources for teachers, a research library of archaeology and anthropology resources, and a research collection of over 3 million artifacts and records from archaeological projects in southwest Colorado. While the AHC is closed, they indicate that the public is encouraged to explore Canyons of the Ancients National Monument, right here south of Dove Creek. However, during these times of recent snow cover, it's probably less accessible, as the roads are few, unpaved, and most likely unplowed, with snow travel making hiking virtually impossible. But for specific information, go to the Dolores Public Lands Center on Highway 184 in Dolores, or online to the blm.gov website, and through Colorado, locate the area covering Canyons of the Ancients.
The San Juan Basin Archaeological Society will be holding their next monthly meeting at 7 p.m. Thursday, January 14th at the Center of Southwest Studies at Fort Lewis College, where FLC professor Jesse Toon will present Colonizing the Southern Rockies, Timing and Adaptations of the First Coloradans. According to their website at sjbas.org, Professor Toon works primarily on Paleo-Indian sites that were occupied at the end of the last ice age and focuses on determining how people adapted their behaviors and technologies to cope with those environmental changes. He is currently developing new research projects that are locally focused on the first people to live in the Southern Rockies and the San Juan Basin. The San Juan Basin Archaeological Society, SJBAS, is a chapter of the Colorado Archaeological Society. It consists of people who are interested in the archaeology and early history of the Four Corners region.
And in sad news, singer-songwriter David Bowie died yesterday after 18 months fighting cancer. He died at the age of 69 after just having released a new album called Black Star on his birthday this past Friday. Though I've been told from locals that several waves of music never really made it to the Four Corners area over the course of the last 50 years, punk rock being an example, David Bowie's music was extraordinary, with hit songs such as Let's Dance, Changes, Space Oddity, Starman, Modern Love, Heroes, Under Pressure, Rebel Rebel, and Life on Mars. His flamboyant impact was sure to have captivated the ears of many residents in the area. Well known for his created alter ego, Ziggy Stardust, his glam rock music offered far-out messages. His Space Oddity, featuring the story of Major Tom, has affected artists and listeners worldwide. There's a special quote from a concert held in 1998 at New York City's Madison Square Garden that's poignant. He told his audience, "I don't know where I'm going from here, but I promise it won't be boring." The truth is, of course, is that there is no journey. We are arriving and departing all at the same time. He will be missed.
That's it for today's show. Again, thanks for tuning in. This program is aired live at noon and rebroadcasted at 2:30 and 8 p.m. on Channel 32.1 Dolores County, on Channel 30.4 in Montezuma County, and their cable channel 5.
You can also watch the rebroadcast on YouTube at the DCTV News at Noon channel. Be sure to contact us with your news suggestions. All feedback's welcome.
For Kendra Cook, Jerry Tope, and all those working to bring you DCTV and the News at Noon program from Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. See you next time.